and here are my 3 cents on this episode of Monica. 1. Continuous learning. Passion drives you to continually seek knowledge and improve your skills. This can extend beyond your job to personal interests or hobbies. 2. Diverse learning sources. Being passionate often means seeking information from various sources. You could be talking to experts in the field, reading books and articles, watching tutorials, or participating in forums and communities. And 3. Effective communication. Passion fuels your desire to share and discuss ideas with others. It pushes you to communicate effectively, whether it's persuading colleagues about a new project idea, explaining complex concepts to clients, or simply sharing your enthusiasm with like-minded individuals. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Aarna Sahu, host of Aarna's News, where on this podcast channel, I aim to eliminate the gender gap in the STEM fields by featuring inspiring female professionals and highlighting their stories and accomplishments to further encourage girls. Today, on episode 96, I'm pleased to announce our guest, Parna Sarkar-Basu. As a tech evangelist, she serves as a strategic advisor to transformational leaders and tech pioneers and helps them launch and reinvent companies to drive sustainable growth. She is the founder of Brand and Buzz, a consulting firm focused on helping businesses pivot with purpose. Recipient of multiple awards, her expertise includes changing industry perception, business transformation to help companies navigate the digital era, building market relevance and entering new markets, as well as preparing startups for fundraising activities, IPO, M&A, VC, and crowdfunding. Parna has propelled several tech companies into innovation leaders in highly competitive markets, from robotics and artificial intelligence to enterprise software and professional services. Parna is frequently invited to speak and moderate executive sessions at various industry conferences and events, including TechCrunch Justice, AI World, Robo Business, Robotics Summit, MIT Reality Hack, and WITI Summit. In her spare time, Parna enjoys networking and mentoring young professionals, as well as learning new skills. She is currently into golf and is working on her swings, and a mother of 2. Parna and her husband live in Boston. So thank you so much, Parna, for being here today. Before we dive into the questions, would you like to introduce yourself?
I think you've done a phenomenal job of introducing me. Thank you so much, and I'm so excited to be here talking to you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So my first question for you is, tell us a bit about your career path.
Sure. I'd like to think that my career has been an awesome journey. I kind of fell into the different roles and different industries, uh, very unplanned, but I wouldn't change a thing because I have gotten all through my career, gotten to learn about emerging technologies, seeing innovations that were happening in the labs, like even before before they hit the market. Got to connect with and work with amazing people. So I feel very blessed to have had, still do, a career that I've had. And I think one of the things that is special, that I feel super special about, is that when I came to this country, to the US, I didn't have a network. I didn't know people because I didn't go to school here. So it was a woman executive who opened the door for me. And then it was another male executive who gave me my first job and kind of mentored me through, and got me also into the tech world. So I feel very privileged, and I've been in the corporate world now for over 20 years. And about 6 years ago, I launched my consulting firm to help businesses pivot, as well as help a lot of the startups and young professionals and women entrepreneurs kind of see, help them through their career, through their business, and wherever I can. So
I love that.
yeah, it's been great.
I love that. I love that journey. And congratulations on the firm. I'm super proud of you. And I know what you're doing right now is helping a lot of women along the way. And I think that's really commendable.
Thank you. Love it.
All right. So, my question for you is, what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours? And do you have any tips to succeed?
All right. So as you just heard, I have two career tracks. I have a career track in corporate marketing, and then the second one is an entrepreneur. So, the advice that I would give to somebody who wants to be in marketing is to understand that marketing is very broad. So, talk to as many people as you can, find internships, because that way you will get to know what kind of a company you want to work with, whether it's a big company, startups, because the culture is very different. And whichever team you want to be in. So marketing, for example, has corporate marketing and positioning, which is kind of my specialty. There is lead gen, there is design, there is PR. So it's really broad, right? So my advice is get as much exposure through internships and talking to professionals, to learn more, and then you find the path that works best for you. And then as an entrepreneur, I would say, I mean, you're one too right now. Look at you doing all, you're an influencer as well. But and you're doing similar to what I'm doing, is that, I launched my company because I wanted to help more people. Because when you work for a company, you're limited because you can only do so much, and you also have to follow, legal guidelines, competitive guidelines, and so on, which we still do even as a business owner now. But my tip there is that always build a company. If you want to be an entrepreneur, do something that you're passionate about. But you also have to understand at some point that there is a demand for it, that there is a market for what you're offering, whether it's services or a product. So those would be, my 2 cents.
And I love what you said there because you have to kind of gain experience to do something you want to enjoy. So with marketing, it's like a huge scope. So of course you said that there's PR and there's corporate marketing. And you never really know what you're going to do unless you kind of dabble into it. So for students especially and college students, marketing is definitely the best way to go, and getting experience through internships is the best way to go. Um I
Yeah.
definitely think that's amazing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also, obviously I'm talking about marketing, but it's any industry, right? If you want to be in robotics or you want to be an engineer, like there are so many groups that you can be part of. So, do you want to be an electrical engineer? Do you want to be a software engineer? Do you want to, so, and you would know, like at least in college, you kind of get a flavor for the different engineering components. But kind of do that when you are launching into the industry as well, and if you have the privilege of working in a big company, then you are so much more exposed to the different groups and different engineering teams. So yeah, different functions. So essentially, yeah, get the experience and see what you like, and then dive right in.
Absolutely. And with working through internships, you get to network with so many different people. And, those can be your mentors, or people that you just know, and you can just expand your network and connect with different people.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
And my next question for you is, what is a common myth about your profession that you want to debunk?
Really good question. Let's see. Most people think marketing is just marketing, it's frou, and anybody can do marketing. But in reality, I think one of the reasons why marketing often fails is that people think about just the tactics. Oh, we're going to do an email campaign, or we're going to do an SEO or whatever, like just a different component, without often having the big picture of, what is the marketing strategy that we are putting in place to support the business strategy, because it is a very vital function within a company, because it helps the company grow and thrive. It's, I believe, marketing is really about humanizing your brand or your technology, depending on what it is that we're doing. It is demonstrating how your product is actually impacting the world, humans, what is the business impact. So I think it's really more about the strategy, the positioning, making sure that it all fits in within the business strategy and the expansion plans that a company might have. And of course, very important, build credibility and relationship with your clients, because even though marketing is a mix of, it's science based, especially now because we are looking at tools and everything is like data driven, we're making decisions based on data. But at the end of the day, that human touch, the relationships, the market credibility, taking, just, yeah, I think that human side is really important. So I feel that is one of the things that I often talk to students about, is marketing is not just like little things, it's really the big picture. So it is critical for a business to succeed. And then as an entrepreneur, I would say, oftentimes we might launch a business because we're passionate and you know what you're going to do. Oh, this is what I love. This is how I'm going to help people and I'm going to go. But at some point, you will have to be open to pivoting. And the pivot could come because changes in the market, changes in consumer behavior. It could be changes in like geopolitical developments that are happening. So I think the one of the myths for entrepreneurship is, you cannot, just because you have a good idea, you cannot just keep going. At some point, you've got to reevaluate and see what makes sense and when it makes sense and if it makes sense to pivot, so that you can stay relevant, grow, and obviously continue to support the clients that you have and attract new clients.
Absolutely. And I love what you said there because not a lot of people can be in specific industries. And I think marketing is a very, very hard one to be in. I think it's because you have to continue doing your best. And, of course, you have to maintain those clients. It's a really, really fun one. But of course, it boils down to getting practical experience first before you actually do something. Um, so this might be, working with some organizations at your school or doing any collegiate PRs if you can, and just getting that practical experience because, as you said, as you get bigger and bigger clients, you'll have to do more stuff. So it's definitely best to have some internships up your sleeve and some practical experience.
Absolutely, you said it really well. One of the things, because I serve on multiple boards also, and we often will have, well, there's two components. So one is we will look to bring students in to an organizations as volunteers so that they can learn the ropes, whether it's a marketing organization in engineering, women in women engineering or women in robotics, depending on what it is that you're interested in. That volunteer experience, again, it just exposes you to how to interact in the real world also, right, before you even get into the business world, because a lot of the people in these boards are professionals. You can pick their brain, you can learn the different functions. If you're interested in finance, you can be part of the organization's finance team or sponsorship or whatever. So I think that's important. And almost every organization that I know of, and not that I know all of them, but often they have a student chapter. Whether it's an engineering and the robotics or marketing, what have you, there's always a student chapter. So find out if whichever industry you want to go into and you're not sure, look for that the student chapter. Sometimes it's free, or sometimes it's like a very nominal fee that you may have to provide. But at least the boards that I'm in, we just let the students come in and learn, and because we also help guide them through their careers, connect them with companies so they can go in for internships and stuff like that. So so talk to as many people and as you're doing, and leverage those relationships to help you get a better sense of where you'd like to go, where how to start, and you need somebody to help open the door for you.
Absolutely. And my next question for you is if you could step into my shoes, what would you ask yourself that I didn't?
I think you're doing everything right. I mean, look at you. I don't think you need any advice from me. I mean, you're passionate about STEM. You're passionate about trying to get, more girls or more students into STEM careers. You've already started this podcast. You're talking to people. I don't know, like you're there, my friend. Um, but if I do have to give you a suggestion, it'll be keep an open mind. Keep an open mind and be open to new opportunities because you have a passion, you're doing what you love, and you're helping people, and you may already know that this is where I want to go once I'm going to college, and this is the I want to be an engineer or a software developer or what have you. But you never know, opportunities might come your way, and you don't want to shut the door. So just be open, and you're already doing great. You'll do like superbly better.
Thank you. And
And
I
I
love
can't wait to
yeah.
see where you go next.
Thank you so much. And what you just said there, I want to touch base on that because you might have a passion for sure, but that passion can take route in different avenues. Like if you're interested in STEM, maybe it might not be in a classic laboratory clinical role. It could be in, software engineering. It could be in teaching stuff. And if you're passionate about something, don't be afraid to try different avenues and different routes.
Absolutely, you said that. And the example that I often share is when I'm talking to students, whether it's in a classroom or at a career fair or what have you, I'll ask them, so how many of you would like to go into fashion? Like half the room, entertainment, the other half. How many of you want to get into tech? They're like, huh? And then when I start telling them the amazing work that you can do. And you don't necessarily have to be an engineer or a rocket scientist. Like you would just say, you could be a designer, you could be in finance, you could be a lawyer. So if you love, like for example, I love tech. Like I do not know how to code, I cannot build a robot, but I am very, very familiar with the industry. I can talk about it till I'm blue in the face, and so I think as if your passion is tech and you don't want to be an engineer, or for some reason you are not an engineer, there are different paths that you should absolutely check out.
Absolutely. And my question for you is what are the best resources and books that have helped you find your career path?
So I fell into my career path, and I really did not wake up one morning to say I'm going to be in corporate marketing or I'm going to be in tech. I just fell into it because this executive who hired me, he put me in the world of consumer products first. Then I moved into tech, and I absolutely fell in love with tech. And then I kept moving in like different groups, different functions, and of course now I'm an entrepreneur. But even though I did not read a book about my career, I am a voracious consumer of information. I think I spend every day at least 3 hours just just consuming stuff everywhere. And for in my job, for example, I serve clients in like different industries. So it could be, so I want to know what's happening in the world of innovation, the world of manufacturing, the world of med tech, the world of robotics. So I am constantly consuming information. In fact, I have a dashboard right here where I have these the posts that come. It's like on Twitter or X now. So the dashboard is created. So all information around the stuff that I'm interested in, whether it's sustainability, robotics, I have my columns. And then when I have a break between meetings and what have you, I'll just take a look and something I find interesting. I'll look at it, and if there's something that I can share it with my client or I just consume, it's great. So yes, I read everything from People magazine to tech books to you name it. And oftentimes when I'm reading something and I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting concept. Perhaps I can take that concept, change it a little bit, and then try and create a program for one of my clients in a different industry. It just gives you different ideas. So I think that's what yeah, that's just me. I just love to see what's happening every day. And it's also worldwide, right? And there's so much geopolitical developments that are happening in the world, which I also have to stay on top of because as you're advising clients, especially if they're global, I need to know what's happening. So
Absolutely. And I think what you said there is amazing because you're a voracious reader and you said, you go on many different avenues for that. And I think it's really, really important because technology is ever evolving. So if you're especially in this domain, then definitely having up-to-date information is the best thing possible. So what you do in your role is you help your clients. So of course that information is amazing and helpful. And I think that a lot of people should incorporate this wherever they may be in whatever stage they're in.
absolutely. Yeah.
And my next question for you is what do you think is a vital factor that shaped your career? What was your life before learning it, and what was your life after learning it?
I believe the vital factor that has shaped my career is my ability to translate and distill complex technologies and concepts and turning them into bite sized, relevant, and relatable content that anybody can understand. And like I love geeking out with the engineers and the founders and see how passionate they are about a product that they're designing or um, um, a software or an app that they're developing, and you can just see them light up when they're talking about it. But when it comes to going and talking to the investors, they don't know how to do it because they're talking like feature functions, the tools, like right here. Whereas I can see their passion, I will learn what their technology or their solution does, and then elevate that into like, here's how your product saves lives or saves the planet or accelerates your business by X%. So it's kind of taking that great stuff that they're doing and making it um, relatable and relevant. I think is kind of what has helped me through my career. Does that make
Absolutely.
sense?
Yes, it does, and I think that's a superpower because as a podcast host myself, I meet like a variety of people, and a lot of these people do really crazy things. And as a student myself, I don't really know what's going on. Like I'm also an enthusiast of tech, but at the same time, I might not know what's going on. So it's nice to like not per se dumb it down, but to make it more understandable. So if like my dad, like he's a really big software guy. If he's doing something really crazy in cloud computing, I won't know what's going on. But if I can sort of understand that, that's really helpful, at least for me, because I'm only a student. And I think that is an amazing superpower that a lot of people don't really know of, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think you said something really important too. The goal is not to dumb it down because people are not stupid, you know, but they all want to understand how a product works. How is this robot going to save lives? Or, how is it going to make a healthcare provider's life easier? Yeah, and robots always sound like really cool stuff, but no, it's a very complex product to build, right? I mean, my son is a roboticist, and I work with a lot of robot companies as well. It's very complex, but it's kind of how do you bring it to life, or even stuff like, I think 2 years ago the big buzz was around the metaverse or NFTs, and so bitcoins. There's like all of these things that come and go, but I need to be able to understand how all of that works so that when I'm helping my clients position their product or get them ready for an investor meeting, they have to be able to explain that amazing product that they have in simple terms, but and also the why. What is it going to do for you, and why should somebody invest in you? So yeah, it's a tough job. It's also strategic and important because that is what helps companies go from like being a little startup to a growth phase company.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And my last question for you before we end off, because we have some additional time, is what's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
That's a hard one. I I would probably say I wish I had been more open to new experiences and skills, because when I came to this country, I said that I'm going to be in advertising because I loved it. That's what I wanted to do, and I knew it. And when I came here, I didn't know anybody, and it was knocking on doors. And I went to BU at the department head, and I said, "Okay, nobody's giving me a job. Um, Everybody thinks I know nothing about advertising. I don't have any money. um, do you think I could like sit in and listen to your presentations? So at least like I learned something, at least I can say, okay, I went to a class at BU in advertising and I know what you're talking about, even though I studied it when I was back there. So I was like, I know what the whole history of advertising and what's happening." And Professor Lubar was the kindest man, and he essentially let me audit the whole semester. I worked on projects, and it it opened my eyes to how the students in this country work at that time. Oh, and by the way, you may not find this funny, but I grew up in India, right? And in India, it's British English. And when I came here and I would do the projects with the students, I'd be like, COLOUR, color. And they're like, "Parna, you are so bad in spelling." I'm like, "No, I'm talking the Queen's English. You are talking the American English." So I think that I pigeonholed myself into that world because that's all I knew. But then once I opened up, and that's how I landed up, in the consumer market, working with like Parker Brothers and Hasbro, and along with my team. And then I went right into tech, working with iRobot and the rest, other tech companies. So um, I should have been more open when I came here, but then I didn't know any better. But I think you are doing it right.
Thank you so much. And my last question for you before we end off is do you have any last words to the audience?
My last words would be keep learning. Keep learning. Just open yourself up to new experiences, new technologies, new people, because you learn every day different things, different experiences. And I think that is what makes us who we are.
I love that. Thank you so much, Parna, for being here today. I absolutely love talking to you.
Well, thank you for your time and for having this chat with me. Really appreciate it, and I hope your audience finds some of these tips helpful.
Thank you. Thus, that concludes the episode for this week. If you want to know more about how I relate to these amazing topics, then stay tuned for upcoming episodes. A free way to support this show is by leaving it a 5-star rating and a review on the player you are listening to. Let me know what you enjoy about this podcast, as it's a chance to tell me what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it too. Once again, thank you for finding me, and I hope we stay in touch with each other. Dito, you're listening to Aarna Sahu, the host of Aarna's News. Toodles!